Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Nice looking Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Jolene Hetsler is in the studio. Jolene has been with us before. She is a registered nurse. She is with the she is an oncology patient navigator. We've learned about this before, but if you've never heard what a patient navigator is, we're going to learn again from Jolene. And of course, Jolene is here as a guest from Ocala Health, and representing Ocala Health, Lauren Debick is in the studio, looking as beautiful as ever. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Good. And you're the manager of marketing communications at Ocala Health.
That's correct.
So
yes.
you introduce us to people we need to know.
Absolutely.
Do you know I'm going to a doctor that I learned about through this show? Did I share this with you already?
No.
Dr. Joviak? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she came in here. Do you know who Dr. Joviak is?
No, I'm not.
Wound care. I have a wound on my leg.
Oh.
Yeah, I could create a terrible story, make it seem like I'm like a hero or something. I'm not. It was just one of those things. Yeah. So we're going to learn about oncology patient navigation, and good morning to you again, Jolene.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me. It's always good to get to introduce navigation and cancer awareness, so thank you.
I think I shared with you off the air before even that my mom was a survivor. We were trying to figure out during the break, 25 years I think she lived after she was diagnosed, and she had such an attitude. Is attitude a big issue? I mean, as far as, like, can you tell in advance this person's going to handle this well?
You definitely can.
Yeah.
But what I try to promote from the beginning with my patients is to have an attitude, have a big, bold attitude. It's always good to try to be appropriate, but to me that shows strength, and sometimes those energies can always be channeled into a positive light, and so we kind of help guide them through those pieces.
Wow.
So when I hear attitude, I'm like, that's great. Try to support. We just try to support that.
There's some people with good attitudes who can instantly go to not such a good attitude because something gets them down.
Sure.
And then there's people like Robin, who you'll never even know she's sick. She'll be sitting here with her mouth drooping, looking like she's having a stroke. Thank God it was something else. But it's like, are you talking like a pirate on purpose? What are you doing?
It's definitely good to hone into those instances when the patient needs that little extra support versus the ones that are stronger.
Yeah.
So.
I think God made you ladies actually stronger than us. I mean, he made us like that gorilla that was in that cage. He made us like that. So, but inside, you ladies are actually stronger. I do think so, especially for your families. You're there for them. You, like Robin says, you're the rock of everything.
Well, thank you.
So does a navigator have to be as strong as the patient?
Well, first of all, on a personal note, I definitely enjoy being strong for others. I've never been in the position, I've never had cancer, so I can only empathize. I've never actually gone through that journey myself, but yes, definitely as a navigator, you're able to kind of advocate things for patients. So what a navigator actually would do is to make sure we screen to assist for any barriers to care, and that's a huge hurdle in seeking out health care for very many patients. A lot of patients want to postpone, but in the world of cancer, there's not a lot of time to waste. So we want to promote earlier access to screening and prevention. There's a lot of good tools out there. I'll also find out if there's any financial barriers. Psychological is huge. Educational assistance, those are all things. And communication through the complexity of the healthcare system is another huge aspect. And then so basically that would go from diagnosis to treatment and through to their survivorship period.
Do you know, I like the word navigator. As you're talking, I'm thinking about it. Like if you think of the traditional definition, somebody with a map telling you how to get where you need to go. This is before GPS was invented, right? Mm-hmm. But
yes.
you could look at the map and you could say, well, here we could take this route, but this route is better. Here's why. And it sounds like it's the same thing with somebody dealing with cancer. Like, could I do this or see that doctor or have this procedure or maybe this, holistic approach? And you might say, well, those are all good, but look, as a navigator, this looks like the quickest path to get there. Does that sound like a good comparison?
Absolutely. I mean, what we do in navigation, part of the criteria to be a navigator is I'm also an RN, and I've had more than about 10 years of experience working with oncology patients. So I've actually had that direct patient approach so that I could help kind of tell others' stories, so to speak, in a general light. Of course, if it's something that they should report to their physician and get the details from them, I encourage them to do so. But sometimes you're right, it's that pathway. We need to, well, we have this issue, let's call this provider, because these patients have very many providers. They have a primary care physician, they might have a surgeon if they had recently had surgery. They also have an oncologist. So that can be a confusing time. So if they have that one go-to person, they can kind of help direct them through those pieces. We have this problem, we need to get to from point A to B and C and get there in a timely manner, and that's what navigation does.
And when you have all those different people working together, there might be different forms of treatment that the patient can benefit from, and not just standard one or two.
That's correct. And then so oncology navigation follows direct guidelines. So it's not something that was just kind of made up for their care, so that they can kind of have that empowerment and know that these are studies that were done, passed down by NCCN guidelines of what treatment they should be getting. This is what we should be doing to get that optimal result.
So somebody goes to the doctor and they get that bad news that you've got cancer. Okay. And I'm guessing the first thing they think after being afraid and worrying is, okay, I've got to see a doctor. The word navigator probably never comes to mind. So how do you enter their lives? Does a doctor recommend you to them?
Sure. In our community, we're definitely growing that knowledge of navigation, and we work with some amazing providers here in the town, and they have definitely done so. They have resources to my services. They can connect with me. Patients directly can connect with me. Any patient in the community, whether they receive care at our facility or not, they can also be directed to the navigator, and I usually do connect with them early on in diagnosis as well. But absolutely right. All of our providers are becoming more and more aware of navigation and that benefit, and they do routinely connect patients with navigation.
And you don't just navigate patients to the physicians and all the medical personnel. There are different kinds of services in our community that say a woman has to have a breast removed. She needs extra help after that.
That's correct. Yep. So it's a lot of way that we can take all the different pieces, because there's so many great providers in our community, so we can kind of connect those pieces and get those patients where they need to be within our community.
With clothing, people lose their hair, they need wigs, things like that.
And I call it my fluffy stuff. I love to be involved with the fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
Education is so paramount. I'm always an advocate for education and prevention, all those good things, but I do enjoy getting to kind of help the patients through that part of it, give them wig supplies and things. You know, it's cruddy that you're going through cancer, but there's all these resources and things where we can help support you and lift you up through it.
Well, if I ever need a wig from you, get me something wild. just like, I don't know, spiky. Like the kids I see outside the window here, they got some wild hair.
And different
I've seen
colors.
some wild hats.
Some of them have, like, I don't know how you'd make this wig, but it's like everything is shaved except for the very top. That's what I want.
Well, we probably could make
I'd look
that
weird
happen.
with my. You know
You
what?
can practice right now if you want to.
You want to do it right now?
We'll get
shave my head.
scissors and
So let me say this: the comparison to a navigator, let's say on a road trip or something, differs from what you do in this. The navigator on the road trip is basically going to take you to the destination. You actually stay with the patient beyond remission or cure, right? You're still with them.
That's correct. There's services that navigation offers, and that would be what we would call our survivorship period. So by definition, though, survivorship, basically the National Coalition of Cancer Survivorship says that from the time of diagnosis to the balance of life, a person diagnosed with cancer is a survivor. The definition also went on to include family, friends, volunteer caregivers, because they're all impacted by cancer. And so basically, if you're in that category, you are a survivor.
So you're hanging out with me the whole time? I mean,
that's correct.
I don't want to get cancer, but if I do, you're going to be fun. I mean, do you come to my parties and I say, this is my navigator? I mean,
within the limits of
okay.
those things, I absolutely.
But you're invited if you want to, because I go
great.
to lots of parties.
But I'm definitely as involved as the patients need, and sometimes, you know, like we were talking about earlier off air, that very many patients are affected by cancer, whether they have been diagnosed or not, and you never know when a family member might need that support. They can definitely reach out for services.
And
as well.
that aspect of sharing more is really, really critical, because years ago people would sort of shy away away and the patient would be very secretive. But now everything's out in the open, and I think it's better for the emotional aspect of the patient and the families.
Absolutely.
Jolene, we are up to a break, so we'll be right back. Jolene Hetsler and Lauren Debick are in the studio. We're talking about navigating cancer and survivorship, right? We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine mixed with some clouds today. A thunderstorm in the area during the afternoon. High of 89 to 94. Clear tonight, a low of 71 to 76. And tomorrow and Saturday are going to stay sunny to partly cloudy with an afternoon thunderstorm. Highs will range from 89 to 93 both days. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
You can't put it off any longer. It's time to replace your home's AC system.
The answer is asolvesitall.com and an exceptionally efficient AC system. Let the pros at A show you how you can save on energy monthly and give your family added comfort. The great thing is that asolvesitall.com is on call 7 to 7, 7 days a week at no extra charge.
For a limited time, mention WOCA and get a special discount.
Call 877-765-4ACE or asolvesitall.com.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online. Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
New windows will beautify your home and bring you immediate energy savings. Renewal by Andersen of Central Florida leads the way in quality and installs the name brand homeowners trust. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for a free in-home consultation with the pros. Right now, buy 4 windows and get the 5th free. Plus, no money down, 0% interest, and 0 payments for 12 months with approved credit. Visit renewalbyandersen.com. That's renewalbyandersen.com. Offer ends July 31st. License CGC 1523333.
All right, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to call, by the way, you are welcome to call to ask questions. We have a tendency, Robin and I, to have fun with our guests, even if the subject is super serious, and it doesn't get any more serious than cancer. And even during the break, we were talking about navigating to hospice, because that ultimately can be the direction you may end up going as well. But it's an important role that is played by Jolene and the other navigators. So, and I'm not really, I know you've taught us about this before, Jolene, but so let's get back going. I just want you to know you can call in 622-9622. Jolene Hetsler is here from Ocala Health. Jolene is a registered nurse and the oncology patient navigator for Ocala Health. And June 5th, right, is National Cancer Survivors Day. Is there something we want to say about that?
Sure, that's correct. So June 5th marks the 28th Annual National Cancer Survivors Day. And so what we're doing is the COC, this is the Commission on Cancer. They would like to bring a general awareness to recognizing cancer survivors, number one, and just providing support for patients with cancer, as well as just bring about awareness for screening and educating the community about cancer prevention and detection. So that's one of the big days, so that you could mark your calendars for that special day.
So the biggest reason people survive is because they catch it early. Is that a true statement?
Well, it is in that, that's always really good. We want prevention, but also early detection. Oftentimes what it means is that it catches the cancer at an earlier stage of development so that there's generally less treatment involved. Sometimes a patient only needs to have surgery and then just get watched closely by an oncologist. But as those stages increase, has a propensity to have cancer spread to other areas, the treatment treatment regimen is longer, more complex, and can have further side effects on down the road. So to a degree, that is very correct.
Who has the better attitude, if a child gets cancer or if the adult gets cancer?
Well, I predominantly do adult cancers. I like to think children are very resilient just by being a parent. But I do know that maybe it could be argued that in adulthood, folks are very, they know a lot. We have a lot of information, or we may not have much information at all. But so as an adult, I know I'm very logical. So there's a lot out there. There's a lot in the internet and things that folks read. So, and we're also providing for families as an adult. So we're trying to provide a care for our families and support for them, and then we might get diagnosed with cancer. So I really couldn't speak for a child's behalf. I know that from the parent standpoint, I imagine that would be very stressful.
Sure.
Sure. But adult cancers, we do see it take its toll in a holistic implication. So.
Because cancer can be a very long illness, I can understand the navigator need. Are there navigators in other illnesses, other conditions?
There absolutely are, and
Really?
it has similar concepts. So you might have a heart navigator would navigate those things that a patient would need to be aware of to stay healthy, say after a heart attack or after a heart transplant or valve replacement or stents, all those different things. So they do have different disease site navigators.
How does, from a legislative perspective, how do the elected officials do with when they're passing bills and things to help cancer patients?
A lot of the things that I like to see is there's regulations that the government sends out to help us regulate those things and guide us. And the fact that we have navigation, I think, in oncology or any setting, it speaks volumes to that care. It's being provided, and facilities such as Ocala Health adopt those. And I believe it helps bring a structure and a heart to the community to develop those things and give those patients resources. So I think that that's a lot of what you're seeing too from those legislators that's coming out, that they're regulating those things. They're making suggestions to us to improve those things, and care is always kind of under scrutiny to kind of keep the best going forward and make sure we have good outcomes for patients.
Do you have a lot of patients on your caseload? How many people are you navigating right now?
A lot of patients have come and gone for various reasons.
But like today, how many people do you have to keep in touch with?
Oh, today, throughout the day, I might have maybe up to 15 or so that
15 people? Oh my goodness.
Sometimes the contact is very, just maybe a couple at a time, just to check in, see how they're doing. I get calls throughout the day from community patients, and I go around on the units, and I get consultations from our providers and from, of course, the floor nurses to come and see patients that need navigation.
If you can put on your headset, I have a phone call coming through. You'll be able to hear the caller. And let me just reintroduce you. Lauren Debick is here, by the way. I apologize, I didn't reintroduce you when we came back. And Jolene Hetsler is here, and we're talking about patient navigation from Ocala Health regarding cancer specifically, and survivorship. And good morning. Thank you for calling and for waiting. You're on the air now.
Yes, and thank you. If you come down with cancer, let's say in Florida here in Ocala or anywhere in Florida, and you wanted to go back home to another state to get treated, do you have like a referral service that would get you involved in another doctor in a northern state, like an oncologist or whatever that you would need?
That's a great question. I'm predominantly oriented to our community, so by giving you a referral outside may do kind of an injustice. I would then give that person the recommendation to go through your provider is the easiest thing to do. Have your provider give you that referral. That way they would be able to help accommodate insurance carriers and all those good pieces and get you to those that they're connected with. So generally I encourage patients to start there.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, you mentioned insurance. We need navigation through that sometimes.
That's correct.
So you have to have a certain amount of understanding of how that business works.
That's correct. I do have to have a very general understanding of different insurance purposes. Definitely our state and national driven ones, such as Medicaid, Medicare, those types of things I have to have a real good understanding for, and just how patients would file and things like that. So, there's a lot of general understanding where I would need to direct them as to what to do.
Wow. And do you use technology in any way? Do you have a laptop or an app? Is there an app for that?
There are different apps and different ways.
Really?
I do use the computer often.
Because we do that as people. I mean, if you find out somebody's got an illness or you yourself have something, you go online and try to figure out what it is. We're always self-diagnosing, right? Trying to figure out what we need to do, right?
It's true.
So do you ever navigate somebody away from that? Like, let's say somebody says to you, you know what? Look what I just saw here. Suzanne Summers got better by eating meatloaf or something.
Absolutely.
I think it was oatmeal, not meatloaf. But.
That's another thing that we would want to educate patients to make sure they go to their provider for all of their information. They're giving all their primary care. Everyone is different, so to speak, so they all have different comorbidities. They're on different types of medications. Some general homeopathic treatments can interfere with their therapy, so that's where I would tell them to go back to their provider and just double check some things. Sometimes some things on the internet are also very general, and what applies to one patient doesn't necessarily apply to all.
Are cancers rated as far as the fatality factor goes, or do you treat each type of cancer as the most important one when you're seeing your patient?
As far as when I see my patients, yeah, I definitely try to see the patient for what their needs are. So if it's resource information and things that they need, try to see them for that. But I definitely do see all the cancers, and every cancer is different. That would come down to when the patient has their biopsy. There are different types of cancer that are, say, more aggressive than others. I do happen to note that my patients that are in stage 3 and 4 have a lot more psychosocial need. There's a lot more symptom-related need. So I do actually end up mentoring them more, but I available myself to all of my patients, even ones that just have their surgery and they're cured.
How do you not take it home with you? How do you have a personal life?
Because I have to carry on the next day, and I want to carry on the next day and be there for someone else, and I want to be strong. I can't really explain how I don't take it home, and I can't say that I don't either.
You do take it home sometimes.
Probably.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't mean this in a romantic sense, but do you fall in love with your patients?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, oncology patients are incredible, and a lot of them are pretty healthy when they first get diagnosed. So.
Wow.
And how about all of the different cancer treatment centers in the area? Do you personally go to visit each one just so you can scope it out and make sure that they're doing the best job they can for your patients?
Well, that goes on like we were talking about before, the NCCN guidelines are all clearly there, and they're highly accessible, and that's one thing that I use as a resource that I'm always monitoring and things, and so that's a way that I can also empower my patients and make sure we do know that the right things are being done for them. So that's one of my main go-tos, so that we can make sure that those things are being done. So yeah, absolutely. Wow.
So I kind of have, maybe for both of you, if somebody was listening, let's say they're at an assisted living facility, they said they're the, what do you call the head guy over there, head lady?
The administrator.
Can they invite you to talk, just to educate like groups of people at a time? And maybe that's something Lauren would do too? I mean, do you ladies get together and talk just for educate, like you're doing right now on the radio? Do you do that in front of like a live audience?
Absolutely. We certainly want to educate as many people as possible about this.
Yeah, so do they call you, Lauren? Do they call?
Yeah, they can call actually our health hotline for information about that, for additional healthcare information, or actually to even find a physician. And the number for that is 1-800-530-1188.
Look at that. Robin had to write down there. I didn't have to write anything. It's already written there. Yeah, I think that's the number I first called for my leg. I said, what do I do? And they said, well, go see a doctor. And I said, well, I was hoping you weren't going to tell me that. I was hoping you weren't going to tell me. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is we all, we think we have a handle on life, but it takes sometimes somebody to take us by the hand. That's what it sounds like you're doing. You're taking us by the hand. So when you get over that hump and the scary part is done, and they're at the survivor part, do you sometimes recruit those survivors, like to talk to those who are not there yet? Does that happen?
Sure, absolutely. That is something that is at the patient's discretion or the survivor's discretion. And if they have an amazing story and they mention that they would like to share it, they can get in contact with organizations like American Cancer Society and start being an advocate. They're definitely encouraged to advocate within the community as well. They can come to our Relay for Life and be a survivor there and just be that voice. They've been able to come and speak there too. So absolutely. And on the subject of when we go and talk to the community and community awareness, we are actually doing a mentoring with our educational series. This is given through the Cancer Alliance of Marion County, where what we're doing is we have these providers come together with patients through all aspects of their care, from beginning to middle and end of survivorship, to come and be a part of our seminars that we're doing. The next one is actually June 8th, and they can call me and RSVP me on that one. We're also doing a later one with survivorship as well, so that one's another good one. My phone number is 352-401-1534 if anyone has any interest in coming to our educational series. And we're feeding everyone. It's an hour and a half process, and like I said, providers and patients are welcome. The next one on June 8th is going to be more about side effects and dealing with side effects of cancer.
All right. Thank you for coming in, Jolene. For the listeners, share the video that we just made of this with somebody who you know will benefit from it. The video will be on our WOCA YouTube channel and Facebook page by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Jolene, thank you for coming in. Jolene Hetsler, good to see you again. I love your smile. Look at you. And Lauren Debick, thank you for coming in. Love your smile too.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you for what you've chosen to do with your lives. You're making other people's lives much better.
Thank you.
And have fun. It's summertime.
Yeah.
And next time you come in, I'll have a wild wig or something. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio.